Welcome to the Biotech Executive Brief, your concise rundown of the developments shaping artificial intelligence, pharma, and life sciences, and the broader business landscape. If you find these updates useful, subscribe to the Biotech Executive Brief to get daily updates on the industry and stay current on the developments that matter most. This weekend's brief covers Friday, August 14th through Sunday, August 16th, 2026. Let's start with AI, where geopolitics, infrastructure investment, and major strategic deals dominated the weekend. The U.S. is preparing to tell international partners they may have to choose between American and Chinese led AI ecosystems. Washington's initiative covers areas including AI models, semiconductors, and critical minerals, showing how the AI race is expanding beyond individual models into the infrastructure and supply chain supporting the industry. Apple is navigating that competition with a localized approach. The company has trained an AI model specifically for China with support from Alibaba. The move reflects how global technology companies may increasingly need different AI strategies depending on the regulatory and competitive environment of individual markets. Chinese developers are also continuing to advance their models. Z.ai said its open source GLM 5.3 model performed close to Anthropic's Mythos 5 in tests involving software vulnerabilities. The results add to the growing competition between U.S. frontier models and increasingly capable Chinese open weight alternatives. Content provenance was another theme. Google will allow users to remove visible watermarks from AI-generated images, videos, and songs while retaining invisible identification technology. Anthropic also provided more detail about watermarking for Claude-generated content. As generative AI becomes embedded in everyday workflows, identifying where content originated is becoming a more prominent product and governance issue. Now to the very expensive part of AI, infrastructure. Done. The scale of AI infrastructure spending is becoming large enough to influence broader capital markets. Reuters examined whether the enormous financing requirements associated with data centers and other AI infrastructure could eventually put upward pressure on long-term borrowing costs. Consolidation continued as well. Stripe, meanwhile, reportedly finalized a deal to acquire OpenRouter for more than $7 billion. OpenRouter sits between AI applications and model providers, helping developers route requests across different models based on factors such as performance and cost. The size of the reported transaction illustrates how valuable the infrastructure connecting models to applications is becoming. And then there's Anthropic. Expectations around a potential IPO are reportedly being shaped by projections of roughly $190 billion to $200 billion in revenue by 2028. Those numbers demonstrate the enormous growth assumptions being placed on leading frontier AI companies. Now let's move into pharma and life sciences. Bristol Myers Squibb reached an important milestone with FDA approval of Zenbexus for previously treated multiple myeloma. The approval marks the first FDA clearance for the company's CELMoD class and introduces another treatment option into a competitive blood cancer market. Capricor Therapeutics also received a potentially important regulatory opening. The FDA agreed to review additional 24-month data for the company's Duchenne muscular dystrophy therapy, Duramyocel. The decision gives Capricor another potential path forward following an earlier regulatory setback. In diagnostics, the FDA approved Lantheus Tau-Clarify, a radioactive imaging agent used with PET scans to visualize abnormal tau deposits in adults being assessed for Alzheimer's disease. The product adds another tool to the evolving diagnostics landscape around neurodegenerative disease. Biotech dealmaking remained active too. Sky Bioscience and Redx Pharma agreed to combine into a new publicly traded company called Fibrex Therapeutics. The transaction includes approximately $125 million in financing and will focus the combined organization on advancing fibrosis assets. Elsewhere, companies are concentrating resources rather than expanding pipelines. Maplight Therapeutics is reducing investment in preclinical programs to focus on its Phase 3 ready schizophrenia candidate. BioCryst has also ended its internal discovery operation and is repositioning how it sources future pipeline opportunities. These decisions highlight a familiar biotech reality. Capital allocation matters enormously, and companies are increasingly concentrating resources around programs they believe offer the clearest development and commercial paths. European regulators also provided more detail behind the withdrawal of Tavneos, identifying serious protocol concerns associated with its pivotal trial. The situation reinforces the importance of trial execution and data integrity alongside clinical efficacy. The obesity market remains active as well. Novo Nordisk's Wegovy pill continues to build its oral prescription base, while Eli Lilly's Foundayo is increasing prescription volume. Competition across injectable and oral obesity medicines remains one of the most important commercial battles in pharma. And the weekend brought significant public health news. The Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo became the deadliest in the country's history, surpassing the toll from the 2018 to 2020 outbreak. Now let's finish with the broader business landscape. U.S. consumer spending showed signs of weakness. Retail sales declined 0.6% in July, marking the first monthly decline in 9 months. The weaker data contributed to the S&P 500 pulling back slightly from its previous record. The AI investment trade also showed signs of becoming more selective. Jane Street took an approximately $15 billion hit in July, partly tied to exposure to AI-focused investment strategies and technology positions. At the same time, institutional filings showed investors becoming more balanced in their exposure to major technology companies. The broader message isn't that investors are abandoning AI. Instead, expectations are becoming more demanding as valuations rise and AI trades become increasingly crowded. Amazon made a notable legal change for U.S. customers, reinstating binding arbitration and preventing customers from pursuing class action lawsuits under updated terms. In energy, Nigeria's Dangote refinery is preparing a major domestic IPO while planning to roughly double refining capacity to 1.4 million barrels per day within 3 years. Peter Thiel also disclosed an approximately 1% stake in Vista, a major producer operating in Argentina's Vaca Muerta shale region. Infrastructure disruptions extended into logistics as well. Water levels on Germany's Rhine River fell to another record low, forcing freight away from barges and toward road and rail transportation. Because the Rhine is a critical industrial corridor, prolonged low water can translate directly into higher logistics costs and operational disruption. German companies also reduced direct investment in the United States during the first half of the year, bringing investment to a 3-year low amid trade policy uncertainty. And in Hawaii, Hurricane Lala caused widespread infrastructure disruption and left more than 200,000 utility customers without power before weakening to a tropical storm. That wraps up this weekend edition of the Biotech Executive Brief, covering Friday, August 14th through Sunday, August 16th, 2026. Across AI, geopolitical competition, infrastructure investment, acquisitions, and trust are increasingly shaping the next stage of the industry. In life sciences, FDA decisions and biotech deal-making are unfolding alongside tighter portfolio prioritization, and across business, softer consumer data, more selective technology investing, and infrastructure disruptions continue to shape the broader environment. If you want to stay current on these developments, subscribe to the Biotech Executive Brief for daily updates across AI, life sciences, and business. Thanks for listening to the Biotech Executive Brief from Sternbridge Technology Consulting.